it.
Right.
That is an awesome, awesome thing. And next we have up another fantastic guy, someone that I love, maybe the grooviest, surfiest, awesomest Hollywood producer guy that I know. I've known Ron for a long time. He's a business leader, breathwork coach. And I mean, he produces fantastic shows like for Tony Robbins, for the Oscars, for the ESPY Awards. I mean, the list goes on. This dude, as you can see him on the back of the wall there, what he's got in his office for super cool stuff. Ron's built a premier business supplying production equipment to the Olympics and the Star Wars franchise. It goes on and on and on. He lives in LA with his wonderful wife, Christiana. One of his sons has been to our events. Both of his sons have been to our events. We love him to death. They will bring some awesome stuff here to us. It's all about the breath is Ron's topic. I mean, this is a 3,000-year written history touting the benefits of nasal breathing. Over 80% of office workers suffer from something called continuous partial attention. He wrote, and Ron said, this is a state of our mouth breathing becoming shallow and erratic. He goes on and talks about this. He works with people. He has people at his home. This detoxifies people, really adds into some of what John was talking about, the alpha brainwave state, guys. I don't want to take up much more of Ron's time. He can teach you so much better than I can about that. Brother Ron, thank you, sir, for being here. Awesome. Man, take her away.
All right. Keith, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to start with a story. I met this guy back in 1988. And he wasn't really a regular guy. Him and his older brother were beaten since they were little kids. And you take what you know as you grow up, right? And by 16, he went to prison for the very first time. It's because this guy's 250-pound Italian with the mutton chops, V-neck sweater, gold chain. He'd take your breath away when he walked towards you. And when I met him in 1988, he had spent more than half his life in prison. And what changed his life were two guys that went into prison and talked, just like all you guys are doing here. And Keith, as you inspire and teach people, myself, everyone else on this call, we take that and we teach and we inspire other people. Back in 1988, I was sleeping on a 4x8 sheet of plywood.
Wow.
And my life's changed. And I understood how important that is. And I've learned so much from every one of the people here tonight. And the questions are very thoughtful and direct. So I want to thank you, Keith, very much for putting this together. It's huge. It's huge for all of us.
Thank you, brother.
So with that, I'm going to start with this slide. So on the left, you can see a picture of my spine, which looks pretty effed up. And on the right is a picture of me at the top of Kilimanjaro. Now, I did all that damage growing up. And I figured out a way through breath to get myself to the top of Kilimanjaro. And it probably wasn't the smartest thing I ever did, but I did it. So 3 years later, I'm at home. I have my two boys over. Oldest boy is 17. He's about to graduate from high school, and I've been pinging him for 6 months. What are you going to do? Drive cross country. I'll send you to Australia. Go do something, some rite of passage, something to grow up. And he's stuck in his video game, and he won't look up. And the agitation is there. And in a fit of frustration, I go, that's it. We're going to Kilimanjaro. And they were screaming and yelling in the house. And I couldn't believe what I said, because I swear to God, I'd never go back there. It was just a painful experience. So as you get older, you don't necessarily get smarter, at least not in my case. And so I created that chaos. And I had to figure out how to breathe through that, because when I got to the top, my back went out, my disc slid into my spine, and I couldn't move at 15,000 feet. Now, I have my 15-year-old and my 17-year-old at this height, and it's midnight, and they're about to take off with two guys that I'd just known for 4 days to the very top. And that's where I really learned the importance of breath. And I didn't really understand it until this man came into my life, Wim Hof. And I know a lot of you guys have probably heard of him. And he talks about the absence of environmental stress. These things we have built to make our lives easier have actually made us weaker. And what if we could reawaken the dormant physiological processes that made our ancestors so strong? Which is a very intense point. And if you read of his work, you'll start to understand as he talks about the cold therapy and the breath therapy. This is what really got me going over the last 10 years. And what really hooked me was the science behind it. And there are a lot of doctors and a lot of books now that support the importance of breath. And this doctor here talks about, the whole thinking from early on was that hypertension and headaches caused our bad breathing, but it's really the opposite. It's our overbreathing, it's our mouth breathing that has caused it. So today, we'll talk about the science of breath, sympathetic, parasympathetic states, diaphragmatic breathing, and we'll go through a practical, which is what we call the pre-game breathing protocol. So we'll go through about 8 minutes of breathing, and we'll talk about why it's so important. So science of breath, how we breathe physically changes how we function. And this has been going on for about 400 years. And if you have kids, you'll certainly understand the braces portion of it, but the physical aspect of, oh, we got admission here, has physically changed the structure of our face. So we have here, in a good breather, good cheekbones, straight teeth, alert eyes, airway hasn't collapsed. Somebody who mouth breathes continuously will have crooked teeth, small airways, tired eyes, crooked nose, and it physically changes. And what happens is we breathe through the mouth, the tissues in the back of the neck get soft. What we eat is soft. We don't build bone structure here, which is why you'll notice athletes too, as they breathe through their nose, will have the stronger cheekbones. They've learned how to breathe at an early age, and through those formative years, it doesn't physically change. So how we breathe also chemically changes how we function. And we've seen this through a number of the speakers earlier. Take a breath, slow it down. So the parasympathetic and sympathetic states can literally be brought on intentionally just by how we breathe. So when we breathe through our mouth, we're only activating the top two lungs. These are connected to the amygdala. And what happens when you breathe through your mouth, you're activating your amygdala and you're in a fight or flight state. When you breathe through your nose, you're breathing into the bottom three lobes of your lungs. Those kick in your parasympathetic state. That's your feel-good chemicals. That will bring you down. It's the same thing. You tell people to breathe through a bag, you are creating carbon dioxide. And we'll get into the science of that here. Sympathetic state. Upset, angry, right? Primal. When we breathe through our mouth, we instantly put ourselves in a primal state. We also put ourselves in an anxious state. Bored. Have you ever tried to interrupt somebody playing a video game? They're literally playing in an elevated state at all times. Fearful state. You're in a fight or flight. Cortisol drops. It secretes all your stress hormones. So if you've had a long day at work and you're huffing and puffing because you're thinking about that guy that wronged you, and you're breathing through the mouth and you're parked out front and you're about to go inside to kiss your wife or kiss your husband, you may very well be in this state. And it's not that you mentally want to be in that state. You have chemically changed your brain to be in that state. Now, how good is that for your relationship with your kids, your family. You show up for a job interview, breathing through your mouth, breathing heavy, this is how you're going to come across. The opposite is the parasympathetic state. Now, you can only be in one state at a time. You can't be in a primal state, and you can't be in a powerful state at the same time. So you have a choice. Breathing will give you that choice. So when you breathe through your nose, you're able to bring upon that parasympathetic state. You can lower your blood pressure, lower your heart rate, cortisol drops, starts to release dopamine, you start to feel good, peaceful, and present. Now, would this be a better way to greet your husband, your wife, your kids? Would this be a better way to go in for a job interview? Maybe. All right, let's go back here. Diaphragmatic too soon. So what happens when we breathe through our nose? Air comes in, it warms, and it mixes. This space is right in the center of your brain. So obviously it's pretty important where nature put it. Mixes with nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vacillator. It widens your pipe, your arteries, your veins, your capillaries. And we have enough of these that can go around the world 2.5 times. That's what's in our body. So when we mix this with nitric oxide, it creates a bigger pipe, which creates less stress on your heart, right? Viagra, what does Viagra do? It's a vacillator, right, guys? Some of you guys. So you can pump that process up as well by nasal breathing. So it warms, it mixes with nitric oxide. The other thing nitric oxide does, it kills viruses. So when you breathe air in through the nose, you're killing viruses as it goes down into your body. Now, I talked about earlier, when you breathe through your nose, you're filling up to 3 lower lobes of your lungs. Now with gravity, blood settles down to the lowest part. It can, right? So the blood gathers on your lower 2 lobes of your lungs. So when you breathe in the air, you're actually mixing, breathing through your nose, you're mixing more air with that blood. That blood now has more opportunity to get oxygenated. That's a big deal. If you're an athlete, or if you're a parent just trying to get your kid to sleep, that becomes really important. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have more patience. You're going to be more peaceful. Your blood pressure is going to be lower. Heart rate, pulse, it's going to be chill. So there's a second benefit. And what happens when you take in an oxygen molecule, it bonds with hemoglobin. So you have 4 oxygen molecules bonding to a hemoglobin that goes through your body. So when you breathe through your mouth, you're bringing in oxygen, but you're also spitting oxygen out. And the most important gas in this process is actually carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the gas that releases the oxygen into your blood. So if you're huffing and puffing, you're getting lots of oxygen, but it's not getting into your blood. It's not getting into your brain. It's not getting into your feet. And if you're a boxer, a fighter, a runner, a parent, a boss, an employee, that's pretty important at the end of the day. You know, did you just sack yourself the whole day, not giving your body the nutrients and the oxygen it needs, or did you cut yourself way short? So that's why they put a bag, have people breathe into a bag when they start to hyperventilate. It's to build up carbon dioxide, which will then bring it down. So the breathing exercise we're going to do here in a minute will help you to understand where your carbon dioxide tolerance lies. It's also called a BOLT score, which is a body oxygen level test. And we can do that right now. So one thing on posture, if you're over here like this, breathing through your mouth, playing a video game, when you try and breathe through your mouth, how much do you really feel your torso filling up with oxygen? Now, when you sit up and take a big breath through your nose, start to fill everything up, right? That's important. lung capacity, right? We're not using all of our lungs. So we want to use all of our lungs, and we want to have enough carbon dioxide in our body to release the oxygen molecule. So the test we're going to do is I'm going to have you breathe 4 times. The first 3 times will be very normal breath. And the 4th time, I'm going to have you take a big breath in through your nose, all the way to the top, and then exhale as slowly as you can. And if you stop, you're done. If you swallow, you're done. If you hesitate, you're done. So let's start that. I'm going to time that. And make note of your time. I'll call it off every 5 seconds. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. One more. Breathe out. This next one, take it into the full amount through your nose. And start exhaling. And I will call it out. 5. Stretch this out as long as you can, but make it steady. 10. 15. 20. 25. 30. Anybody still going? 35. 40. All right, raise your hand if you were 40. 35, 40, right on. Right on, Greg. 30. Right on, Brian. How about 20 or under? 10. Right. So that tells you a lot about your tolerance for carbon dioxide. And that is one of the biggest indicators of oxygen usage for a free diver, but it's also very important for the athlete and the average person. The longer you're able to space that out, the wider the space is between breaths and between pumps of the heart. And for the athlete, this becomes very important because you're better able to use the oxygen that's in your body and you're not breathing as often. If you're not breathing as often, you're not stressing your system as often. So it's a good indicator to take with you over, do it once a day for the next week. Find a breathing protocol. I'll put some on the talk here and we'll figure that out. So the diaphragmatic breath, breathe deep into your belly, into your lungs, all the way down. When you breathe down deep, you start to push and put pressure on your vital organs, which helps push the blood through your system, which reduces the stress on your heart. So we're looking at ways to reduce anxiety. Every time we take stress off the body, off the heart, off the lungs, we reduce stress. Every time we breathe through our nose, we reduce stress. Pre-game protocol. So this one, I'm going to direct you to take a few There we go. All right, so I'll take you through a breath protocol. Something that is beneficial, whether it's pre-game, pre-interview, maybe you just got to walk in the door and you need to reset your mind. This is a great way to take it down, clear it. This first part will enter into the parasympathetic, which is the dopamine, the feel good, rest, relax, peace. Then we'll go into the sympathetic. We'll raise it up a little bit and then we'll come back down. So in this first one, and I want you all to count to yourself, we'll go 6 quick rounds, count to 3 in, 6 counts on the exhale. Breathe through your nose, breathe deep into your diaphragm. Just go slow. Close your eyes if you want. You can keep soft eyelids. 3 in, 6 out. This is all through your nose. This is to bring you into a peaceful place, a present place. One more time, nice and slow. Come centered. All right. We've opened up the blood vessels. We put some oxygen. We've balanced out the carbon dioxide and the oxygen. The pH balance in our blood is good. That can be caustic. Now we're going to go into a little heavier breathing. We're going to go through 30 cycles. It's a very quick breath in the nose, out the mouth. You want to sit up straight. You want to breathe through your nose and out your mouth. You want to fill your belly. You want your belly to draw. So everybody begin. You want to breathe in your belly, draw it in. You're oxygenating your blood right now. You're putting oxygen molecules with your hemoglobin and it's going through your entire body. You might feel a little dizzy, a little lightheaded, fingers tingle. If you're stuffy, that's okay. Breathe deep in your belly. And we're going to do 5 more. And then I'm going to have you do a breath hold. And on the breath hold, it's going to be on the exhale. You don't need a full set of lungs to hold your breath. Your body's completely oxygenated. There's less stress if you're not holding it. 1 more, breathe in deep. And then exhale and hold. Should be feeling maybe a little air hunger. It may feel awkward. If you've never held your breath this way, your body has plenty of oxygen. And what's happening is the carbon dioxide builds up, starting to release the molecules in your body, maybe going deeper than it's gone for a while. We're going to go 15 more seconds. And then I'll have you take in a big inhale through your nose and hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the nose, hold. Just going to hold this for 15 seconds. We're going to go through and do this one more time. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. And then back into the 2 counts in, 1 count out. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. 2 counts in, 1 count out. Filling the lungs, putting oxygen molecules into your blood, pushing it deep. You may feel a little dizzy, a little lightheaded. 5 more. Last one, in and exhale and hold. Start to feel all the oxygen release in your body. You can just envision it going to all your extremities, your vital organs, bringing nutrition to all parts of your body. You guys are doing great. When you hold your breath this way, there's no stress on the body. It's a very neutral position. The oxygen in your lungs does very little. It's the oxygen in your blood that makes the difference. We're going to go just 20 more seconds. If you feel that air hunger, just push gently up against it. It's completely natural. Just push up against it. Now in 5, take a big inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. And hold for 15 seconds. Feel the oxygen move from your lungs into your body. And exhale. Awesome. We're going to go back into some gentle, deep breathing. We'll just do 3 or 4 rounds, I think, in the interest of time. But do a 4 or 5 count in, and whatever your exhale is, double it. This is where you go back into your parasympathetic. You've elevated yourself. You've brought some energy into your body. Now you're going to tap into the parasympathetic part of your brain. You're going to release the chemicals, feel good, peaceful. So if you can only do 2 in and 4 out, do 2 in and 4 out. The perfect breath is 4 in, 6 out. That's 6 breaths a minute. That keeps your body the right levels of acidity and alkalinity. It's the least stressful state your body can be. And this is a good protocol to bring yourself back into after a stressful day, stressful situation. You're sitting in your car or you walk in the house. All right. So at this point, I'd say to cap this off, just take as small a breaths as you possibly can through your nose. Just minimal amount of effort, minimal amount of breath. And we'll finish this off. So why is this important to you? Well, this is something you do 24,000 times a day. You do it without thinking. You know, change from the nose to the nose, from the mouth. I have my brother Tom had COVID very early on, and he had a really, really hard time breathing, and it got worse. And it got very serious, and then he couldn't leave his apartment for 3 months. And I went up there and sat on his doorstep for 2 hours, and we talked about breath and changing how he breathed from mouth to nasal breathing consistently and constantly changed his recovery, literally within weeks. I take this into recovery homes, sober living houses, and work with guys that are detoxing off of heroin, and it brings them into a place of peace. It lowers the chatter. It stops those ruminating thoughts and those conversations we have with ourselves so often, and it gives us just that moment in time to stop that train of thought to make a different decision. And that's all it takes. Helps reduce inflammation, taps into your autonomic nervous system. It has a direct effect on diseases, lung disease, heart disease. It certainly helps the athletes, but it helps regular guys like me reduce blood pressure, heart rate, cortisol, all the things that that change our lives, but not for the better. And this is something we do without thinking. It can change you physically and it can change you mentally. It is one of the most efficient ways to reduce, crush anxiety, help depression, reduce, eliminate depression, and make you a better athlete. So just that moment in time, take that breath. Thank you all.
Well done. Let's hear it. Wow. Ron, amazing, brother. That felt so good. You're reading these comments. Amazing, amazing. The fountain of youth, man. Mm-hmm. What are some questions you guys have for Brother Ron here? I mean, really good stuff. Ron, I'll ask you one real quick.
Yep.
Some of the differences you've seen in your own life. I mean, you know, I get the privilege of coaching with you and seeing you on a weekly basis. I can testify, but I'd love to hear it from you. I mean, what's some of the things you've noticed since you've started this whole work?
Well, it got me up Kilimanjaro without Diamox. Diamox is the altitude medication. And I mean, honestly, only because I took it and got so sick is the reason I didn't take it. So that's a big change. But as I said earlier, it helps me to make much better decisions. I can take that breath, a moment in time. I can stop the squirrel from running in the head and make a better decision. Yeah, absolutely.
Great decisions, man. This needs to be taught everywhere. This is incredible. You know, I tried to give up breathing once. It didn't last very long. We've all got to do it, right? We all have to do it. Man, we've got to make sure this is a staple in everything that we're doing. I mean, this is incredible. You've got one question here from Maria. Are you a surfer and skateboarder?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not skate so much. The pavement's not so forgiving.
That's right.
But I do surf every week.
I don't know if you guys remember the email we sent out. It had a picture of Ron there hanging 10. I mean, really, really fantastic. Here's some more questions. You know, how about tapping at night? Brian asked.
Tapping?
Mouth tapping at night.
I don't know mouth tapping.
We're not familiar with mouth tapping, but that's a great question.
Taping.
Oh,
taping.
Mouth taping.
Taping.
Yeah, you know, I actually tried that once and I hated it. But the author, James Nestor, of that book, Breathe, that's how he got it started. He was a very, very sick guy and in a mouth breather. Face not right, teeth not right, health not right. And when he got into this, he actually ended up becoming a free diver. But he taped his mouth and he would put just a little tape here and put it over his lips. You know, snoring, which is really cute in a baby, is about one of the worst things that could actually happen to a baby. Adults, snoring, apnea is a real thing. People who sit at their computers and read email, there's a whole new diagnosis. They will stop breathing for 30 seconds. Now, apnea intentionally, like we did, is very therapeutic and beneficial. But when you do it unintentionally, it becomes very caustic for the system, very caustic.
So, great question, Brian. Great question. Taping, not tapping.
Taping, yeah, and it is one of the recommended procedures by most dentists nowadays to help patients with their teeth.
Wow, isn't that something? How systemic this is? This is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Joey asked, "How has these breathing patterns affected your vision and clarity of mission?"
So that's crazy. Thank you for that question, Joey. I get my eyes checked every 2 years, and for 30 years, every 2 years, so that's 15 times, I've had 15 different prescriptions, each one progressively worse. Now, I walk with my wife. She started doing the breathing, and I do it every morning. And I took my glasses off, and I said, "Holy shit, I can see better than I ever seen." And she laughed at me. And then she started breathing, and she said the same thing. So yesterday, I got my prescription. One eye stayed the same, and one eye got better. So as I'm pushing more blood, oxygenated blood, it's helping out all of the physical aspects of my life. I can surf better, and I'm older. You saw my spine. I've got a ruptured disc, and I have 2 bulging discs. You know, I haven't been to a spine doctor in 2 years.
Wow.
So it's not straight, but it's getting there. It's better than the picture you saw. So just those things, when you breathe into your belly, it expands. And what's happened to my lower spine is this, it's expanded the space in between my discs in the facet joints. And so when you collapse a disc, there's no room. But now as I'm breathing into it, it's starting to create space there. So there's things that I didn't expect or understand as a benefit from literally just learning how to breathe.
Wow. And I can attest to that, guys. I've been coaching Ron, and, you know, he was suffering for a while. But, man, brother, what? I mean, this is just like a miracle thing. Isn't it incredible? Any other questions, guys? Keep them coming in. Good stuff. So this is a good source to learn. This is a regular habit. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is. Ron, I'll ask you, with the young men, especially like the addicts and those kinds of folks that you work with on a regular basis, how is this transforming them into, like what John was talking about earlier, a new way to tap into an alpha brain state where maybe they no longer even think or need these drugs? What's some of the transformations that you're seeing?
Well, it's really giving them the ability to stop the negative talk, stop the harmful self-talk, to give them a moment to let go of the past, to stop the chatter so they can get into the recovery part of the recovery. You know, so often you can't stop the spinning long enough to have a conversation or a meaningful moment. So this has allowed people to take themselves out of that hyper state. And when you're breathing through the mouth all the time, agitated, you can't sleep that way. You can't sleep in a sympathetic state. And a guy that we took through here a couple of months ago, we did the Wim, similar to Wim Hof, we did the breathing, we did some pool work, and then we did some ice plunge, 3 minutes in the ice bath, and taught this guy how to do that last breath we did, taught him how to do that breath. And he called me yesterday and he said, ever since that day, I've been able to sleep, and I get agitated and I get frightened and I get scared often. But I go back to that breath and it brings me down to a place where I can sleep. And when you sleep, you recover, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. Without sleep, you can't. And so it's phone calls like that move me in, and I see incremental, you know, progress in myself. But like you, Keith, you see a lot of progress in other people from a high view, and it is remarkable. So yeah, I would say it's giving people the tool to give themselves a moment in time to think differently and to do the work that they need to do.
Wow. Well said, brother. Well said. Julie asked, how long do you recommend doing this daily? Morning, night?
Well, the breathing part is all day long, through the nose. You know, your mouth is for talking and for eating. If you look at any other animal on the planet, they breathe through their nose. The only exception is the dog on occasion when they get overheated. But unless you're an athlete sprinting a 100-yard dash, or you're paddling over the overhead wave, there's no reason to be breathing out of your mouth. You know, and obviously fighters, you scale up during the fight, but the ability to scale back down in the corner very quick, to go from to going powerful through the nose in the matter of a minute is really important, because now you're putting oxygen back into your blood. So you've got 60 seconds to do that. So being aware and cognizant of where you are in each one of those stages and making it appropriate for that stage is key.
And I love what you just said. I mean, making that a goal, a cognitive, actual, purposeful goal where you're going from mouth breathing back to nose breathing, even after a state of, of exertion. That's fantastic. I like that.
So Wim Hof has this really cool 11-minute breath protocol. It's a YouTube. I'll send it. I think I've sent it to Keith. I'll send it again. And if I can find it in the next 30 minutes, I'll put it in the box. But I do that every morning.
I think I got it here, brother.
With my wife. She got annoyed at listening to me breathe. She actually yelled out from the other room, "Stop breathing."
That's awesome. I just put it in the comments for everyone to check out. It's really good. I've been doing it. Fantastic. Guys, thank you so much. Ron, let's hear it for Ron. Good job, brother. Thank you, Ron. If they want to get back in contact with you, would you like for them just to ask me and then I'll connect them with you? Would that be okay?
Yeah, I'll put my email and phone number in the chat, and then I'll drop that YouTube link in there as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Guys, what a day. We've had many of you that's been with us all day since 12 noon Central. It's really been a good day. And guys, I want to thank you so much. Your time is your most precious resource. You have taken your time out, believing in what we're doing today, allowing us to share what we find to be valuable and what we've seen. Guys, this is one of the keys to a fulfilled life. Remember the old saying, success without fulfillment is failure. And fulfillment, one of the number one indicators that I see constantly with working with people over the 30 years I've been in this kind of work, is if they will invest in themselves, to stop, right, to learn, to grow, to adjust. That's what this is all about. And so everything from, listening to champions, how they do it, the Major League Baseball champions, to UFC champions, to work about vulnerability and defeating our saboteurs, cybersecurity, alpha brainwaves, breathing, dancing. Guys, we have brought it here to you today. I mean, it's been an amazing thing. We've had you up and moving and grooving, and now we're talking about fulfillment here with you. Guys, life is full of a plethora of many things that you can do. And my encouragement to you is don't stop here. I mean, here we are wrapping up 2020, and what a year it's been. We talked about that. But guys, remember, problems in life always bring opportunities and blessings if you'll do it. Everything that may be here, no matter what it is, it's all about you making sure that you have the ability here to do whatever it is that you need to. Guys, don't stop. 2021 is coming up, and let's think of it as a new beginning. It's your opportunity that no matter what has happened, you can begin anew. And these wonderful people we've had on today, they're willing to share. They want you to see, they want you to grow, and even reach out to them. One of the keys to success is, will you act? Will this just be one day and you listen to those one people that one time, or is this going to be day one? Either one day or day one. Here's your opportunity, guys. You can make this happen. You can take this opportunity to grow. I would love to hear from you. Guys, you can reach out to me anywhere. I will make sure I'll put my email address down here. But you guys can reach out to anybody on here, right? And one of my big goals is to make sure that you connect, that we connect people. And you guys can email me. I mean, you can email all kinds of folks on here. But the key is we want to make sure that you continue to grow. Don't let this be the only time that you can do this. Keep growing, keep reaching out. Guys, it has been wonderful to have you here. Look for more of our events. Again, reach out to us if you need anything. Make sure that you are looking for ways to not only keep this stuff to yourself, but to give it back to others. Another key to a fulfilled life is to contributing. My favorite definition of greed is to think that all that you have or all that you receive or all that you earn is for your own consumption. It's not. We're here sharing this, and that's why this was absolutely for free. Guys, absolutely for free to you, your time, your investments, because we believe in contributing. That's what it is. And so God bless you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, guys. I hope to see you guys soon. God bless you, and God keep you. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon.